Welcome into Crossing the Aisle with Shaun and Lindsey. It is nasty, nasty, nasty out there today. We're trying to get these cameras fixed right. Somehow we come in here and they're always have been moved or disabled. Something's always going on. Shaun, how's your morning been?
It's pretty good, man. I'm pretty busy for a Friday, so it's always an eventful day at the Yurt Crown Law Firm. I can tell you that. So, but I'm glad it's Friday, and I think I'm gonna take the afternoon off. That's my plan, at least so far.
Well, it's like a good day for it because
Yeah.
it is nasty, nasty out there.
Yeah, it looks pretty bad. But I'm just glad it's the weekend because it's been a long week, long news week that we've had here.
Yeah,
in terms
for
of,
sure.
I mean, I can't remember the week we started with Bryce Sawyer and the child predator and Hector and all that stuff, and then we went to what happened next after that, the election. Oh yeah, there was the election.
Yeah, don't forget that.
And then then we got attacked by Hector's baby's mama. Like there was just, and she was going around apparently spreading this stuff that I sent you last night about Bryce and child support or something. I don't know. It's just been out there. And not to get into that, but it's been a hectic week, Lindsey.
Yes, it has. And then, of course, last week with the Capitol Police and being indicted and being let go. And I don't know what's happening in the world. It's insane.
It's nuts.
We got children. Of course, they're giving children porn and
all that stuff. Well, we're going to get into that today, y'all. We're going to get into, first, I think the topics we got to are about Trump's approval ratings. It's been on Fox News. He's having a little war with Fox News about that. And then we got Lindsay's big issue that she understands a lot more than me is the United States Supreme Court had a case with the parents in Maryland school district about whether they could do a religious opt-out to LGBT books. Is that correct, Lindsay?
Yes, the parents are fighting for the ability to opt out, which seems pretty mild when you consider what they're giving children to read. Yeah. And actually, in some instances, requiring children to read. So,
and we'll get into all that. And before I forget, though, congrats to Ole Miss's Jackson Dart for getting drafted in the first round of the draft by the New York Giants. I think there was 2 Ole Miss players drafted in the first round, which is always good for Mississippi when you see that. So, congratulations to Jackson Dart. I know a lot of my football fans were watching that, so that was great news to see that.
Yeah, I was not watching the draft.
You were not. I didn't think you were.
I was not.
I didn't think you were going to comment on the draft, but
yeah, no comment there.
Anyway, what we're going to get to. So Trump is big mad about his approval ratings and the Fox News article. And there's been a lot of articles about his approval ratings being underwater at this point in time. And he's really mad at them. Lindsay, did you read about that?
I did, but I mean, come on. Trump's mad when anybody says they don't like him. So that's nothing new.
Well, he said something about this. It's that Rupert Murdoch has a fake pollster. It's not just a Fox News poll. They were just reporting.
Well, I mean, there have been some false polls out there.
I
mean, we saw that happen right before the presidential election out of Iowa. Remember that one?
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, it's not unheard of that there could be some false polling.
No, he's not. I mean, that's true. But there's been apparently several polls that have him. I think it's his disapproval rating right now is around 59%. I'm trying to pull it up here. The internet's getting kind of hairy because of the weather, but and that's caused him some strife here. It says, okay, his best marks right now are on the border. He's the strongest on the border. His border security measures, 55% approve of that. His overall job performance, though, is 44% approve, 55% disapprove. His strongest on, like I said, border security. Immigration, he's actually a little bit more, 48% disapprove to 47% that approve. Deportations, he's 45% approve, 49% disapprove. He's even underwater on guns for some reason, which is shocking to me for a Republican. 41% approve, 44%. This is in Fox News, so it's not some liberal paper or anything. Foreign policy, 54% disapprove, where 40% approve. The economy, only 38% approve, 56% disapprove. Taxes, 38% approve, 53% disapprove. Tariffs, you can imagine that's the lowest number, 33% approve, 58% disapprove. And inflation, the last one they measured was 33% approve, 59% disapprove, Lindsay. So right now he's his numbers, which I guess for him doesn't really matter because he can't run again unless He
Well,
tried. Yeah.
did you not see what I sent you yesterday? The new Trump merch in the
Yes, I
Trump
did see that.
the Trump store. Look, I've been saying for the longest time, Donald Trump is a funny guy, and to me, that's one of
That was kind of funny.
the likable things about him. And he yesterday he put into the Trump store some Trump merch that says Trump 2028.
Yeah.
I mean, he is trolling these people like no other,
Yeah.
and it's hilarious because their hair just lights on fire because they get so angry.
Mhm.
And I think he probably has no intention of attempting to run in 2028. I think
He'll
it's
be
a
old
big
as
joke.
hell too, you know? I mean, he'd be in
If
his
he lives,
80s
I
at that
mean,
point.
as many assassination attempts as there have been, will be fortunate if he makes it through the presidency.
Yeah, I don't I think that's all just I agree with you on the trolling. I think people get their panties in a wad about that. I'm not really the Constitution says what it says.
But it is
And
funny.
it is kind of
It's
funny. It
funny.
is kind of funny. I'll agree with that.
And
It's fun. The merch thing was really funny. But I mean the Constitution says what it says. So it's not something that, sets my hair on fire when he trolls people like
but
that.
yeah, but you're also not one of these. Contrary to popular belief,
Mhm.
blue-haired,
Yeah.
purple-haired liberal baristas. I mean, you're much more, I think,
Well,
a Democrat of Bill Clinton's time.
yeah, I just, I appreciate humor, and I just think people are getting a little bit like wacky. And you just look at the guy's age for one thing. We were making fun of Biden's age. I mean, he's knocking on that door right there. He's pretty close. So I don't
But he
think
can't make a sentence,
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's still in, cognitive health, it seems, but I don't feel like he's running for. So this is not really going to negatively impact him. I mean, his legacy, I guess it would be if this continues. It'd be the midterms is what we're talking about in 2026 and how that would affect the Republicans. So I was reading something earlier this morning talking about, the Democrats have an opportunity here with these kinds of low numbers, but the problem is that they don't have an identity, so they can't capitalize on something where normally a party and the opposition party would be able to capitalize when the president's ratings are this low, but they can't because they don't know what they stand for. So that's like they're so lost. They don't. So I read a really good.
They're so angry with Trump that it's just anything that he's for, they're going to be against. Such as, we talked about this, that every single Democrat voted in Congress to keep men and women's sports. Now,
Right.
we know that they are not all for that,
Yeah.
but it's anything Trump is for, they're going to be against, and vice versa, because they just can't stand him that much.
Well, that and I did. So I kind of did a dive about this early this morning about what happened. So the Democrats were in this position before in the past. They lost 3 presidential elections in a row. That's not happened here, but it was that kind of
Maybe it
overwhelming
will.
loss. Well, in 1980, 84, and 1988. And so they had to reform the party, which was, of course, Bill Clinton, who we discussed earlier. And the cultural issue at that time was welfare reform. So they were able to latch onto that positively, because before it seemed like the Democrats were the ones giving out all this free money to people staying at home back in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. And they transformed that issue. Now it's kind of what you said to me before. I was going to send this to you. I think I did send it to you. That the they them commercial that was run against Kamala Harris, that cultural issue got attached to the Democrats because they wouldn't break away from it. And so what you need, these are strategists, old guys that we're talking about, because they had ran Clinton's campaign and they'd been advisors at that point to reform the party. So they were saying that the Democrats need to somehow detach themselves from these social issues, but it's not that easy for them to do because they're so far in it.
They're so far in it.
Yeah, and that's going to take like some kind of a leader, and they to do that, because they said, well, we had Bill Clinton to be able to do that because he was that kind of leader to be able to reform the party. So the Democrats need to find that person. They were suggesting somebody like Josh Shapiro or your favorite guy, Les Moore.
Well, Wes Moore hasn't, he has stood firm on, maybe he can back off of some of those social issues, but he has stood pretty firm on those. I can tell you who won't be able to do it, and that is Tim Walz.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think he will be able to. But Josh Shapiro, I think, would be. And they're talking about also, I think it's Josh Stein in North Carolina, the new governor. So there's like they said focus on Democrats that have won in red states.
Well, if they take him, can they give us Michael Robinson back?
Was that the black Nazi?
He was not a Nazi.
That's what he said.
Why do you love to call these people Nazis?
He said he was.
He said that was fake. Nobody ever proved it was real. They
absolutely proved it was real.
They didn't prove it was real.
Well, why didn't he sue anybody for defamation? He never did that.
Maybe he will.
But he hasn't. He didn't do it yet. And also, wasn't he on all those sex chats talking about like licking buttholes and stuff and crazy?
You cannot say that on the radio.
I think that wasn't a cuss word. I mean, he was saying all that stuff on the There was a bunch of stuff. Is my point about Mark Ross. What did he get killed by? He got beat as bad as Chokwe did too, didn't he?
I don't think so.
It
No,
was
he,
it was
no,
pretty bad.
no. It was nowhere near
It was
75
pretty bad.
Whatever.
I mean, that's what I remember.
I like him. I'm
Yeah,
a fan.
the Black Nazi. That's what he called himself, the Black Nazi. So anyway, the point
That
is
was fake.
the Democrats have got to come up with a strategy to reform themselves from what the public now views them of a party that's, detached from the working class, that is for elitists and that is for these far left issues that nobody really likes. And if they can do that, which this group of advisors are saying it's very difficult to do it. They were lucky because they found a Bill Clinton at that time to be able to do that. So they have to find their Bill Clinton at this point and to capitalize. Yeah, it's not easy. When you're going to find this once in a generation kind of guy. So they got to find their Bill Clinton. And I don't know who, like Josh Shapiro is the only person I see right now that really looks like that kind of a character. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably the best option. But of course, I mean, we're years away from that.
Yeah, but we're close to the midterms though. We're like, but the Democrats may not win then either because they still haven't completed this process. Even as further as Trump's numbers dip, it's still going to be difficult for them. So,
I mean, who's to say Trump's numbers will continue to do it?
They can always have a rebound. I mean, that's true.
I don't see anywhere on that list anybody talking about the social issues, the issues that I deeply care about, because I feel like Trump has done everything he promised us he would do. And I feel like on those issues, he would have a much better approval rating. And so I'm wondering why those were left off.
Yeah, the issues on there are overall job performance, border security, immigration, deportations, guns, foreign policy, the economy, taxes, tariffs, and inflation. Fox News poll conducted between April 18th and 2021. The only issue that he's got a positive approval rating in is border security.
Well, I want to know, though, to all the people who voted for him, what are you not agreeing with, or what do you not approve of? Because I think he's done everything he ran on. He has come into office and hit the ground running and attacked every issue that he campaigned on.
Well, there's obviously, I did see something, another statistic too, that he went underwater with people under 30, which were a big voting block for him. Like he successfully captured that.
But why? He's done everything he campaigned to do.
Well, I think the state, I really think the tariffs have a lot to do with it.
But he said that over and over on the campaign trail.
But it hasn't worked out the way he planned it out to work. So I think that's the problem. And I mean, that's what I figure just by looking at this stuff, look at these numbers. So the public is not seeing that, obviously.
Well, I think a lot of people thought he would be able to come in and people blindly thought come in and all of a sudden gas prices and grocery prices would be drastically reduced. And,
Right.
You and I talked about this a lot prior to him taking office, that there's no way to come in and make that happen overnight.
No, you can't do that. That's not going to work very quickly. It's going to be it says here, voters remain gloomy about the economy as 71% rate economic conditions negatively and 55% say it's getting worse for their family. So, I mean, the numbers on the economy aren't good right now. That's just overall. But, do
you think a lot of that has to do with the tariffs?
I think a lot of it does. Just a perception of that. Yeah. I think it's been so shaky about that policy. It's gone back and forth so much. There's been obviously market volatility about it. There's also one thing I was watching on the Breaking Points before I came here. They're talking about now the people are about to graduate college next month and get out in the working world. And the Fortune 500 companies have said, we're freezing hiring just because of the market volatility. So you're going to have a lot of unemployed people. And they were saying it was akin to 2009 during the Great Recession, to when the millennials got out of college, and that is going to negatively impact their view of the Trump administration, because like, wait, we can't get a job. Like we're just graduating college is when people are looking for jobs. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic.
There should be plenty of jobs to take over that the people he's deporting are leaving behind, right?
If you want to go work at a farm, yeah, I guess, picking stuff. Yeah, you could. There's enough deportations. But I wish he'd have a thing on the whitehouse.gov where we could add people we wanted to the list, like David Archie and Othar Kane. That group, the deportation list. So
they're citizens. Talking about,
but I think we could just deport people that just put
just because you don't like them.
Yeah, Chokwe, just throw them on there. I mean, well, actually, we don't have to deport them now.
I saw the funniest reel that this guy did, and he was right when Trump was elected. And all of these liberals were making these reels where they're just crying. And they're like, "How are we going to survive this?" And like it's the end of the world. Right. And this guy, he's crying. He's like, I don't know what I'm going to do because my mother-in-law, who lives at 123 Washington Avenue,
Yeah.
I feel like she might be deported, and she
may
lives in
not be
that
able
house over there with that green door, and I don't know what they're going to do when they come and deport. Obviously, he's wanting his mother-in-law to be deported. It was quite funny, but we got to take our first break. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back here at WIB 103.9. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back here at WIB 103.9.
WYAB.
When life throws challenges your way, you need a legal team you can trust, and Bain Bowen Attorneys at Law will fight for you. The Bain Bowen team brings over 60 years of combined experience to the table, from criminal law and DUI defense to wills and estate planning, real estate closings, divorce and family law, and even government relations. Bain Bowen is committed to serve you with excellence every time. Let the Bain Bowen team give you the relief you need from stressful, complex legal issues. Visit Bain Bowen Attorneys at Law at bainbowen.com.
Did you know that the average 6-room house collects 40 pounds of dust each year? Local business Pure Air Consultants Duct Cleaning Service can rid your home of the dust, dirt, and debris that may be caught in your air ducts. They can eliminate the mold, fungi, and microbes that might be growing inside your ductwork and polluting the air you breathe in your home. Mention WYB and receive a free UV light with system replacement. Visit online at mypureairconsultants.com. mypureairconsultants.com.
Are you looking to get stronger, fitter, and push your limits? CrossFit Fondren is where Jackson trains. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned athlete, our expert coaches and supportive community will help you crush your goals. Join us for high-intensity workouts that build strength, endurance, and confidence. No gimmicks, just real results. Try your first class today for free. Visit us at CrossFitFondren.com or stop by the gym, 3002 North Mill Street in Jackson, in the heart of Fondren.
8596, small town music, come on, hit it. 859-8596, call before you're home. That's the trick.
Hey, this is Frazier. We are only open Friday and Saturday or by appointment, but still alive and kicking. Call, text, or email for more info. Thanks for your support, and please call before you haul.
601-598-8596, small town music, come on, hit it. 859-8596, call before you haul. That's the trick. Shop our used inventory in the convenience of your own home online at www.smalltownmusic.com.
Y'all come see us at Flora Animal Hospital, your trusted hometown vet. We offer a wide variety of veterinary services, including boarding. Dr. Kaylee McCary is a Madison County native who has been serving the Flora community and surrounding areas since 2013. She leads our team of highly trained and compassionate women. We are located at 740 Highway 49 in the Cotton Exchange Plaza. Call us today at 601-879-3222. At Flora Animal Hospital, we treat your pets like our own.
Your roof is constantly exposed to the elements, battling dirt, algae, and stains. But with Watkins Construction and Roofing Roof Wash Service, you can keep it looking like new. A proprietary rooficide treatment is EPA approved, safe, and guaranteed to prevent algae from coming back for at least 2 years. No harsh chemicals, no damage, no black streaks. Just a clean, beautiful roof that lasts. Call Watkins Construction and Roofing at 601-966-8233 or visit nomoreroofstains.com today.
Pet emergencies don't wait, so why should you? At Urge Vet Emergency Vets of Madison, we offer low wait times and cutting-edge technology to provide fast, expert care for all household pets. Our hours of operation are weeknights 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. and 24 hours on weekends and holidays. Our phone number is 601-790-1918 and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Because when it comes to your pet's health, trust the team that's fast, reliable, and compassionate.
Come together right now over me.
Welcome back into Crossing the Aisle here on WIB with Shaun and Lindsey. With Shaun I like your Star Wars
back.
Yeah, Lindsay's making fun of me because I'll tell everybody the story real quick. I'm going to see Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith at like 2:40 at Tinseltown.
Yeah, Lindsay's making fun of me.
And the reason is so it's a 20th year anniversary. They're re-releasing it. I went and saw it this time 20 years ago, right when I graduated law school. The same like fun and everything at the same. Anyway, I love Star Wars. She can hate on it all she wants. But the reason she's not going is because if you go to a movie with Lindsay, she doesn't shut the F up during the entire movie and asks you questions the entire time. We went and saw the new Gladiator last year, and it was like, oh, what country is this?
Questions the entire time.
You're like, are those sharks real? Like, you know, it was just stuff like, you're like, oh my god.
What country?
Stop talking. I almost like left. I was like, we're gonna complain to management. There's this lady talking in the theater and will not stop.
I had not seen the originals, so I didn't understand anything that was happening. It was a horrible movie anyway. I was bored to tears. And then he got mad at me for asking questions. So now,
Even the people around were looking at you like, stop talking during the movie.
So now he's not going to let me go see Star Wars with him.
No, I'm like, who's this Darth Vader guy?
He's already made me watch it one time. It's just not. It's not my cup of tea. I'm like, what are these people in the snow? It's just happening here.
It's the greatest franchise of all time.
I'm like, what are these people in the snow? Are you going to take your lightsaber?
I'm not taking my lightsaber. I don't even have one. You brought me a knockoff one.
I'm excited. I'm gonna go see
it. It was like a medieval sword, not a lightsaber.
I mean, do men ever grow up?
Not really.
Ever?
Sorry.
Not really. Don't plan on it.
Medieval sword.
So,
I mean,
I'm going to enjoy it. People, it's playing there all weekend at all the theaters.
Not really. Don't plan on it.
Re-release of it. So anybody who loves Star Wars, should go check it out.
Playing there all weekend at all the theaters.
Sure. Go for it.
Right.
Go for it.
Okay, well, let's forget about Star Wars, which is okay for children, and there's something that's not, is what we're about to talk about.
Yeah, there you go.
The Supreme Court heard oral arguments this week in
which is
a case
okay for children, and there's something that's not
involving Maryland County.
Montgomery County, Maryland. Shout out to our chapter chair over there, Rosalind.
Is that in the Mills for Liberty group?
Montgomery County, Maryland. Shout out to our chapter chair over there, Rosalind.
You gotta tell people what group you're talking about.
Moms for Liberty.
Okay.
Just because Rob Schneider made that joke doesn't mean you get to.
So the Supreme Court had oral arguments in the case, and what it involves, y'all, is
just because
there
Rob Schneider
are
made that joke
certain books. Some of them are about gay and lesbian couples. Some are about transgender and gender identity groups that are being, I guess, part of the curriculum to elementary school students and reading like through second and fifth grade gender identity.
Okay, this case in particular originated from a book that was prerequisite for their kindergarten class. This is called Puppy Pride. And let me explain to you what this book consisted of. It consisted of called Puppy Pride. And let me explain to you. Drag queens. There was like a look and find. One was they looked for lace, they looked for leather, they looked for drag queens.
Neil Gorsuch actually said that in oral argument.
Underwear. Yeah, and so you're having these kids who have not even started kindergarten yet, who are required to read a book that is talking about bondage and drag queens. And excuse me, what on God's green earth has happened to our education system that anyone thinks that this is even the slightest bit appropriate?
But there was other books too. There's one called Uncle Bobby's Wedding.
I haven't read all of them.
I went through it pretty good. And there's Uncle Bobby's Wedding.
But there was other books too.
But you haven't read the book.
I haven't read the book, just read the summaries, right?
Because they can make it seem like there's not some stuff in there, and then when you open it up, there's a whole.
Well, I listened to the arguments for the Supreme Court. I listened to the point you're talking about. Justice Gorsuch asked those same questions. I thought was a really good point. Why are they talking about looking for leather? You know, like that's a little ridiculous. Let's go to what he was saying. But the Uncle Bobby's Wedding, though, Justice pointed out, it was about, it wasn't any sexual content. It was about two guys getting married or something. But anyway,
well, a kindergartner has no business.
Well, they were talking
reading
about this
that.
in context of second to fifth graders, but still same. I get your point there. But I think the bigger point here is the legal issue we're talking about is the free exercise laws in context of second to fifth graders. The parents, these are religious parents. And by the way, this is not just like a Christian parents. This is Muslim groups, Jewish groups. It's a coalition of religious groups that are together. So people understand that, and they want to opt out of the. And you're not going to agree on a lot of this, shockingly, even if not all of it. They want to opt out of their kids having to you
and
read
you're not
these
going to agree
books.
on a lot
Which
of
they
this.
should have every right to do.
Shockingly, even if not all of it.
And so that's
They
initially
want to
the school
opt
district
out
allowed
of
them to
their
do
kids
so, but then they
having to
backtracked
read
on
these
the issue,
books.
saying
Which they
that
should
there
have
was
every right to do.
administratively some issue, which
And
doesn't
so
really make a
that's
whole lot of sense to me.
initially the school
So
district
that's the whole
allowed
issue.
them to
Can
do
they
so, but then
opt
they
out
backtracked on the
of
issue,
that based
saying
on
that,
religious
there was
reasons? Now,
administratively some issue, which
to me, I think,
doesn't
and
really
Lindsay's
make a
going to
lot
agree
of
with
sense
this,
to me.
that it seems, yes, why
So
not?
that's
They
the whole
should be
issue.
able to do
Can they
that. They should be able
opt
to opt
out
out.
of that
But then
based
there's
on
the
religious
argument,
reasons?
like,
Now,
is that
to
where
me, I
does,
think,
how
and
far
Lindsay's
does
going
that
to agree with this,
extend?
that it
Now,
seems, yes, why
I would
not?
have
They
the
should be able to do
counter
that. They should be able
argument
to opt
here
out.
is
But
if
then
they
there's
were
the
trying to
argument,
ban the
is
books
that
outright
where
for
does,
religious
how far
reasons.
does that extend?
Then I would
Now,
say I don't
I
agree
would
with
have
you.
the
You know what I mean?
counter
Like if they were
argument
just trying to
here
ban the books
is if they
outright
were trying to
based
ban
on
I
ban
don't
the
believe
books
any of
outright
those
for
books have
religious
a
reasons,
place
then I
in a
would say
public
I don't agree
school
with you. You know what I mean? Like if
anywhere.
they were just trying to
And
ban
I
the books
will, it
outright based on
infuriates
I don't
the
believe
hell out of me that anyone wants to put a book in a child's hands like that. First of all, it shouldn't be there to start with. There should be some sort of policy stopping this crap from coming into our school systems and into our school districts, into our public school libraries. Second of all, if it does get there, then a parent should have every reason under the sun to opt their child out of it. Not even just religious reasons, but pure moral reasons.
well, and there we go with the rest of the argument. So if the religious reasons, my concern is the slippery slope, right? So okay,
I
where
don't
we all
care about your slippery slope. Don't put crap in my kids' hands.
well, hear me
I don't
out
care
on
about
that.
your slope.
Hear me out on it.
slippery slope. Right.
The
okay,
where like yes, it seems pretty obvious with these kinds of books. Like why should kids read them? Okay, we can agree on that.
Hear me out on
But what about when we're talking about science, revolution, and all those? Can they opt out of that? Can they ban those books outright? That's the problem that I think we're.
I don't even. Okay, that's
based
just
on religious
BS.
reasons.
It's BS that the left is coming up with to have a point as to why we shouldn't be able to opt out from these books. Nobody is trying to take anything away from science or history. That's what our kids go to school to learn. They don't go to school to learn how to be transgender, Sean.
Like, I understand that, but what
They go to school to learn history, math, and science. Nobody has asked anybody to take that out of a school.
Like, I
Period.
understand that, but what
I'm saying, what if the Supreme Court?
There's no what if.
Well, let me finish my
Nobody
argument.
has asked
The
anybody to take that out
if
of
the
a
Supreme Court ruled that way that religious could opt out of these things,
There's
can
no
they
what
opt out
if.
of evolution?
Well, let
Can
me
they
finish my
opt out of those things?
The,
I mean, if that extends to the
Supreme
free
Court ruled
exercise
that way
clause that
that
we're talking
religious
about,
could opt
can they
out
opt
of
out of
these things?
those
Can they
subjects
opt out
that
of
are like
evolution?
not
Can they
the
opt
same
out
as
of
like
those
we're talking
things?
about
I mean,
transgender
if that
stuff?
extends to the free
Because
exercise
obviously,
clause
if
that
you're
we're talking about,
deeply religious,
can they opt out
then
of
you don't
those
believe in
subjects
evolution,
that
or
are like
you
not
believe the
the
Earth's only
same as like we're
5,000
talking
years
about
old, or whatever it
transgender
is.
Because,
Can you opt out of
obviously, if
that?
you're deeply religious,
Why shouldn't you be
then you
able
don't
to?
believe in evolution.
Okay,
Or you don't. You
so then
believe the Earth's
you would
only
extend it to
5,000
even
years old,
those
whatever it
issues,
is.
to even
Can you
science
opt out of that?
and history-related issues.
I believe parents should be in the driver's
you would
seat
extend it to even
when it
those
comes to their
issues,
children
even
and their
science
education.
But you wouldn't believe that they
history-related
should be able to ban
I-
books
I
on
believe
evolution
parents
or
should
science or
be
history to
in the
other
driver's
students that
seat.
didn't.
What do you mean by
when it
science
comes
and
to their
history?
children
Because I
and
think
their
there are
education.
But you wouldn't believe
conflicting
that they
views
should
on
be
that.
able to
Like,
ban
in
books on
how?
evolution or science or
Because
history
there
to
are people
other
who don't
students that
believe
didn't.
in
What do you mean by
evolution.
science and
And what
history?
do they
Because I
believe in?
think there are conflicting
That God
conflicting
created the
views
heavens
Well,
and
that's a
the earth.
religious
Like,
belief.
in
That's not
house-
something that's going to be taught in schools. That's a
Because there
religious
are people
belief.
who don't
That's not
believe
something
in
that can be taught in
evolution.
schools.
And what do they
So,
believe?
unless it's like
That God
become a
created the
religious
heavens
Well,
and
that's a
the earth.
context,
religious
like
belief.
class
That's
on
not something
religion
that's
or
going to be taught in
something, but not in
schools.
a
It's a religious
scientific context.
That's not something that can be taught in schools.
So I mean that
so
that can't
unless
be.
it's like from
You know,
a
that's
religious
the problem
context, like
there,
a class
then,
on
really,
religion or
because you
something, but
can't
not in a scientific
teach that in
context.
terms of in a scientific
So I
context.
mean that
You
that
can
can't
teach
Well, that's what I
evolution.
teach my
that's the
children.
problem there.
Well, I mean that's
ultimately,
fine, and
because
you're
you
allowed to
can't
do that, of course.
teach
But I'm just
that
saying, in
terms of- in a
public schools,
scientific
you
context.
can't say, you
You
know,
can teach
Well,
that
that's
to
what I
the
teach my
intelligent
children.
design or
Well, I
or
mean,
that
that's
is
fine, and
the
you're allowed to do
scientific
that, of
theory.
course.
So
but I'm
you're
just saying
telling me
in
public schools are
schools,
teaching that
you
God
can't
did not
say,
create
you
the
know,
heavens and the earth?
Well, they're
intelligent
teaching, I think, the
design
theory of
We have a caller.
evolution.
Let's
is
see.
the scientific theory.
So
You can't
you're
do that.
telling me public schools are
Hey, you're on
teaching
the
that
air.
God did not create the heavens and the earth?
Hey,
They're
I'm
teaching, I think,
listening
the
to
theory
you
of
again.
evolution.
I just want to jump in on, I
Hey,
guess,
you're on the
both of
air.
y'all's argument. Oh,
Hey, I was
so
listening to you
people
again.
forget, not
I just
talking
wanna
about
jump in
the
on,
transgender. I'm
I guess, both
100%
of y'all's
with
argument.
Lindsay on this, but
So
when it
people
comes to the other,
I'm not talking
people
about
forget
the
that
transgender. I'm
it's still
100%
the theory
with
of
Lindsey on
evolution,
this,
and it's taught
but
like it's
when it
completely
comes to
been
the
proven.
other options,
So
people
I
forget
have no
that
problem
it's still the
with my
theory
kids
of
learning
evolution, and it's taught
as
like
a theory.
it's
Like this
completely
is
been
what
proven.
this is the best
So I
explanation
have no
science has
problem
given us
with my kids
so,
learning
this far.
as a theory. Like
Oh,
this is what
it's
this
them
is the
teaching
best
it as
explanation
facts and
science has
teaching
given us.
any kind of other
So,
religions,
this
whether
far.
it's biblical or other religions
Oh,
or
it's them
other
teaching
ideas
it as facts and
as proven
teaching
false.
any
Because
kind
it
of
just
other
hasn't happened yet.
religion,
The
whether
majority of
biblical or other
the
religions,
majority of science
or
on
other ideas
aging
as
and
proven
carbon
false.
dating and all that
It
is
just
still
hasn't happened yet. The
not
majority of
perfect and not
the majority of science on aging and
verified.
carbon
Like,
dating and all that still
you know,
not
what's the word I'm looking
perfect
for?
and not
It's not
Not
100% fact. It's
Very
the best
fact.
that they can come up
Right.
with, which is usually the way science works.
What's the word I'm
That's a
looking
good
for?
point.
It's not
Good
100%
point. Thanks for
fact.
calling.
It's the best that they can
Thank
come
you.
up with, which is usually the way science works.
That's a good point. Good point. Thanks for
So-
calling.
Great. Okay, well,
Thank you.
he's right about the theory of evolution. It's right. Science has come up with the theory of evolution, correct?
Yeah. So I mean, it
You
can't
can-
be
you can-
taught as something that's proven. You
No,
can't.
it's. I don't think it is taught
Well,
like that. But I
he's
think
right
this is
about
a theory of evolution
right.
that
Science has
we've
come
come
up
up
with
with
the
to this
theory of
point based on
evolution,
Yeah.
certain
So I mean,
scientific
it can't be
methods.
taught as
Now-
something that's proven. You
No,
can't.
What
it's- I don't
you're
think it
talking
is
about,
taught
like
like that,
Adam
but
and
this is
Eve
a
and
theory of
God
evolution
created Earth,
that
that's a
we've
religious
come up with to
perspective.
this
That
point based
can
on
be
certain
taught, I think, in
scientific
from a
methods.
religion
Now,
class, but not a science class.
When you're talking about
Yeah.
That's a
So I mean,
difference.
so as long as they're not
that's a
teaching
religious
that this is
perspective that
the
can be taught, I think, in a
only
religion
explanation
class,
that we
not a
have,
science
this is the
class.
proven theory, then
That's a different.
Well, I mean,
I don't
they're-
have a
I
problem with that.
don't
Not
think they're
teaching that
teaching
this
the.
is
I
the
don't know what the religious the status of
only
religious classes
explanation
are
that we
in elementary
have. This
schools
is the
or
proven theory.
high
Then
schools.
Well, I
Yeah,
I mean, I know
I
if they
don't
did
think
have
they're
one, I've read
teaching
cases
I don't
before
know
that it would
what
have
the
to be a
religious
class on
status of
all
those classes
religions,
are in
because
elementary
individuals
schools
of
or
all
high
religions
schools.
theories. You couldn't just
But I
have
mean, I
like a
know if
Christian
they did
perspective,
have
you'd
one,
have to
I've
have
read
all
cases
perspectives.
well,
before.
hold
that
that
it would
thought.
have
We'll
to be
pick
a
back up
class on
here.
all
We're up
religions,
against our
because
next commercial break. Y'all
religions
stay
have all
with
religions
us
have
right
different
here in
theories. You can just
WID.
have like the Christian perspective. You'd have to have all perspectives.
Well, hold that thought. We'll pick back up here. We are up against our next commercial break. Y'all stay with us right here in WID.
1039 WYAB.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit AmericansForProsperity.org. Be a part of positive change at AmericansForProsperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Pure Air Consultants has always been your go-to for reliable and affordable heating and cooling systems, and now we are offering day and night brand to avoid the 25 to 30% increases that everyone is talking about. With day and night, Pure Air Consultants professionals can install a reliable system with a 10-year system warranty, and right now receive $20 off on service diagnostic fees. Call us today, 601-939-7420, mypureairconsultants.com.
I'm Sean Yurtron, and I've spent nearly 20 years in the courtroom. First as a prosecutor in Hinds County, now fighting for my clients as a defense attorney. I know how the system works, and I know how to protect your rights. If you're facing criminal charges, don't wait. Call me at 601-862-1320 or visit me at onetextlaw.com. That's onetextlaw.com. Serious cases need serious defense. And remember, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. Let's get to work.
At Johnny's Pizza House, we consider our customers like family, so we spend the extra time needed to put more love into making our pizza. From our dough made fresh daily to fresh, never frozen ingredients, Johnny's Pizza House takes pride in knowing that what we serve our customers isn't just pizza. It's a slice of home in every single bite. Great traditions start with great food and great people. Start your tradition today with Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice.
CBS News Brief. George Santos is sentenced to more than 7 years in prison. It's over his federal wire fraud and identity theft convictions. U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, John Durham.
He lied to receive unemployment benefits when he was not entitled to them because he had a job. He lied to the Federal Election Commission.
President Trump is again threatening military action against Iran if it does not agree to reduce its nuclear weapons-making programs. CBS's Olivia Rinaldi.
Now they're in the part of these conversations where they're having those expert levels be a part of it. We also heard from Trump on this morning, though, where he was asked how it's going. He told reporters the situation with Iran is going well.
Our Nora O'Donnell is in Rome with more on Pope Francis's funeral.
The Mass will be about 2.5 hours long. It will be mostly in Latin. It will be led by Cardinal Ray. He is the Dean of the College of Cardinals. And then we will see a procession to the Basilica of St. Mary Major.
CBS News Brief.
Hi, this is Rita Jensen with Remax Connection. I've been selling real estate now for well over 30 years, and I typically use Chadwick Home Inspectors. And Chad has done many home inspections for me.
They are pretty much from roof to foundation. Most people are surprised at just how thorough these home inspections can be. Been working with Rita almost a decade now. Very rarely does she let a deal fall apart. She can usually find a way to negotiate where both parties are satisfied.
RitaJensen.net.
Your pie and Gluckstadt is adding to the family. No, not like that. It's the new Pizza Shop sandwiches, like the Italian featuring pepperoni, ham, bacon, black olives, feta, mozzarella, red onion, and that secret ingredient,
oregano. You mix in something called oregano. Oh, oregano.
Some tasty chicken creations, too, like the chicken bacon ranch served with house-made jalapeno ranch. And as always, express your inner pizza, too. Your Pie Gluckstadt across from Germantown High School.
It can be hard to move past the guilt, times of weakness and regret, knowing you weren't there for your family when they needed you the most. But there is life after addiction. We're seeing broken families restored, one man at a time, through our vehicle, cash, and thrift store donations. It's given Mercy House Adult and Teen Challenge the ability to help these men succeed in having better lives. Donate a vehicle, running or not, and we'll come pick it up. Call today, 601-572-7296, or visit us at vehicledonationsms.com.
At Johnny's Pizza House, we consider our customers like family, so we spend the extra time needed to put more love into making our pizza. From our dough made fresh daily to fresh, never frozen ingredients, Johnny's Pizza House takes pride in knowing that what we serve our customers isn't just pizza. It's a slice of home in every single bite. Great traditions start with great food and great people. Start your tradition today with Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice.
Come together.
Welcome back to Crossing the Aisle with Shaun and Lindsey. We are here discussing the Supreme Court case that originated out of Montgomery County, Maryland, when some parents were upset about content that was given to their children as prerequisites for kindergarten or as required reading that talks about some very inappropriate things, much more inappropriate, I might say, than over here in Madison County, Mississippi, where, I have had to go to the school and talk to some teachers, even in the last month or so. Shaun, you remember this, and I had to go and talk to my 7th grader's teacher about a book that was required reading in her ELA class, that had some passages I disagreed with about boys wanting to see naked girls bathing and wanted to be able to rub their bodies. And, I didn't even want my 7th grader reading that. And Madison County Schools was willing to work with me and provided her alternate assignment so that she did not have to read that book. And so this is the whole purpose of having an opt-out, is to allow parents the decision of being able to opt out of an assignment that they don't agree is age appropriate.
Right. But that's, and I agree with you, that's not age appropriate at all. Like, that's not, we don't have a point of disagreement there, but they're using the free exercise clause for it, right? In which I don't actually necessarily disagree with that either. It just depends how, my concern is how far that extends. Now, if you want to, if you want to opt your kid out of the theory of evolution class or the class about the age of the earth, I guess maybe you should be able to, as long as they don't use this to say everybody can't learn about the age of the earth or everybody can't learn.
I don't think
that's the concern, because I
doing.
don't think religion should dictate education, and that's where my concern is in terms of for everybody. It depends on like you want to raise your through the Bible, everything the Bible says is true. That's fine. It's your right to do whatever you want to do, I think. But as long as you're not saying that it extends to those things, I think here's a weird issue because we're talking about sexual content and trans, where that's to me different than science and history.
I know that's why I don't even understand where that's coming into play. I don't think any parents are asking to do that. I don't think there's anyone asking to opt out of those classes for any reasons like this. I think that's a completely separate issue, and I think that's just the only thing that they have to defend it whatsoever, because they know this is absurd.
Well, a slippery slope argument is used on both sides. I can give you tons of different debates of social issues over the last 50 years where they've used that argument. If we integrate the schools, it's going to lead to tribalism and murder. There's just been so much, that's always an argument one side's going to use to make the extreme of what could happen from doing this. When what you're talking about is a sensical solution, I don't have a problem with. I think hey, look, let them opt out of the books. What the hell's the problem with that, right? That shouldn't be an issue. I think it's a little bit disturbing that they're trying to make these kids read that stuff in the first place. I just don't want a situation where there's precedent that religion dictates all education like that. I don't want to see. That's only my concern, the whole thing, because I don't think it should. I think you can do that at home. that's what you want to do. But in a public education system, there is a separation between church and state. In the First Amendment, we've got a free exercise clause, but we also have an establishment clause, which is written first. And there is supposed to be that separation because, the founders were scared of there being a national religion because of what happened in England. So that to me is really important, that it's not dictated to everybody.
And what is the Supreme Court judge's name? What's her name?
Ketanji Brown Jackson.
And what she said was like a slap in the face to her parents. She said, if you don't like it, you can homeschool your kids or put your kids into private schools. Well, her kids went to private school. Mm-hmm. And to say that, that we are not all should all be allowed to have that degree of a public education. We all pay taxes.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to opt out of paying the taxes that go toward public education? Should we decide that we don't want our children being exposed to these horribly inappropriate books? I very seriously doubt that.
No, I mean, again, I think that goes back to what I was just saying. I don't think there's a problem if you want to opt out of kids, reading this kind of stuff based on these religious reasons. Like, I don't think that's a problem. Even moral ones. I mean, even for I don't think kids should read the sexual content. But I think that you shouldn't be able to dictate all courses based on religion. Is kind of the way I'm going with that.
I don't think anybody has, wanted to do that. I think that's just the only argument they have. And I can't even believe the school district is attempting to defend this because it is so outrageous.
Well, I think they're concerned about a future religious precedent. I think that's the concern. Now, I think the school board's argument about not being able to accommodate opt-outs is a little ridiculous, considering they accommodate people for disabilities or language barriers and everything else. But I think they could easily just say, okay, well, you don't have to read the trans book. That's not that hard. I don't think it's a core part of any curriculum for elementary school, or I don't think it would be. So that should be quite simple. And it seemed like the justices were leaning, even the liberal, except for Ketanji Brown and Sotomayor. Even Elena Kagan made comments to that. I listened to the whole thing. She made comments to that point too. I think that rationally, that they should be able to do this. I was listening to the Young Turks, Anna Kasparian this morning, and she even argued like, wait, why can't you accommodate these folks? Like, this is very simple. Sense. It seems like, a mountain made out of a molehill or something. And Kavanaugh's response was really good. I thought he said, why did this even get here? Like, y'all could have worked this out in the community.
You would think
this would have been easy. Like, why is this at the Supreme Court? Like, we don't, because, that, and I think that's, when it gets to the Supreme Court, and that's kind of where, my fear lies, is that then you create all these precedents that people use. So like there may be some group future that says, okay, well, we want to ban the theory of evolution based on religious reasons. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I could see some far religious group doing that, whether it's Christian or Muslim or Jewish.
Well, I mean, and exactly in the same sense, someone could say we want to ban the Bible.
Sure, they could.
I get some area of a slippery slope. What I don't understand is how, first of all, there could be no issue had these books never been put there in the first place. And I think anyone with a brain should understand this is highly inappropriate. Highly inappropriate.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know how they got there. And I mean, I don't know how a book about somebody finding leather is
and
anyway,
lace
educational
and underwear and drag queens. I mean, it wasn't just leather. It was
that doesn't.
numerous.
I don't know how that's educational necessarily, and especially for. I don't even know why high school students need to read that, but but especially for grade school students,
kindergartners.
It just seems like the book I remember reading when I was, and I still have a copy of it.
Spot Run.
No, I think I've shown you in my house. It's a book I remember forever. It's called My Brother Sam is Dead. It's about the Revolutionary War, about a brother that goes off to fight and the other brother misses him. And it's a really, really great book. And, it's from a historical perspective, right? And, that seems to me, and that was even a lot for, I think I started reading that like in the first, second grade. I can't remember, but that kind of book, okay, yeah, it makes sense, right? Even though there's some killing in it or whatever.
Yeah, I remember Flowers for Algernon and some mice died or something. I can't remember exactly, but I mean,
they had reading in Yazoo County.
They did, Sean. They did. Can you believe that?
Did.
I didn't burn all the books there.
Okay, just making sure.
But I think it also is interesting, Sean, that this is not just being pushed by my organization or organizations just like ours. Like you said, there are a variety of groups showing up, Muslim groups who, by the way, are some of the most conservative people that there are in our country. If you didn't know that, I mean, they're if any of our listeners didn't know, that there are a lot of Muslim groups that really support our efforts when it comes to what we are seeing take in school libraries, especially.
Well, yeah, I mean, Muslims are like, unfortunately, in some contexts, it's like a what's the word I'm looking for here? Phrase like over conservatism, where like women are wearing
Like off with your heads.
geez, yeah, and then there's throwing acid on women, and things like there's a little there. You talk about the left going too far. The conservatives in a lot of Pakistan and Iran is kind of a problem, especially if you're a woman. I mean, when you get acid thrown on you, I mean, that's a for taking off your, what's it called, hijaz. I mean, like, yeah,
Is that covers your face?
yeah. I mean, like, it's a problem. Yeah, there's a team of surgeons that goes around. Actually, I knew one of them, and goes and volunteers their time in Pakistan
to fix people.
Yeah, the women that have been
That's
burned
awful.
with acid because
why
of
do
this.
they not want their faces shown?
Because it's sexual. And
How?
I mean, you want me to explain crazy? I don't know. It's pretty. I mean, I don't know. They're nuts. So, I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I don't care if the Muslims out there that are conservative. It's crazy. Just like the left with the whole like with men and women's sports. That's crazy. Like, I mean, there can be extremes on both sides. That's an extreme of conservatism. Is what the Muslims in Iran and Pakistan are doing. Just like the left shows you here what they're doing. So
Can we just bring common sense back again?
yeah. I mean, that's what people have gone nuts. Like we live in a world where a lot of people think it's okay for a dude to go run track against a woman, and then guys think it's okay because a woman shows her face, I'm gonna throw some acid on her. Like, I don't. I mean, how do you debate that?
I don't.
So yes,
I don't think you can.
Muslim groups are conservative, sometimes too much.
That's not what I was talking about. But
Sometimes way too much.
We're up against our last commercial break. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back here in WIAB. We'll be right back here in WIAB.
Keep it tuned here to 103.9 WYAB.
The Tri-County Academy Rebel success in the classroom and on the athletic stage begins with the Tri-County Academy Booster Club. Join the team and be a Rebel by getting involved and volunteering as a booster. Your involvement is the generator for fundraisers, facility upgrades, equipment, uniforms, and all other needs. Tri-County Athletics thrives in part because of our TCA boosters. Join today by calling the TCA main office at 601-879-8517 and help the Rebels continue the championship tradition.
Health has always been reactive, focused on fixing problems as they happen. But with Blue Primary Care, we're taking a proactive approach, working with you to help you understand your health and empowering you to be healthy. It's time to prioritize you, your health, and your life. The results? Less worrying and more living. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's good to be blue.
Craving something extraordinary in Jackson? Manship Restaurant is where your taste buds hit the jackpot. Join us for happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. where your wallet will thank you and your stomach will sing. Indulge in half-price wood-fired pizzas because why pay full price for half the fun? And for just $5, dive into our private barrel bourbon picks. That's right, luxury on a budget. Plus, beat the heat with our frozen drink specials, a tropical escape without the travel expenses. Make your way to the Manship, where happy hour isn't just a time, it's an experience.
If you had an accident and had your vehicle repaired at the insurance company preferred shop, you might consider calling Clinton Body Shop to schedule a post-repair inspection. 5 of the last 6 cars we inspected were bought back by the insurer or repair shop due to unsafe repairs. Your family's safety and your investment are at risk. You may have a diminished value claim due to repairs. Did your insurance company mention that? In Clinton and in Richland, we work for you. We take pride in perfection.
Pure Air Consultants has always been your go-to for reliable and affordable heating and cooling systems, and now we are offering day and night brand to avoid the 25 to 30% increases that everyone is talking about. With day and night, Pure Air Consultants professionals can install a reliable system with a 10-year system warranty, and right now receive $20 off on service diagnostic fees. Call us today, 601-939-7420, mypureairconsultants.com.
Pops Auto Sales on Highway 49 in Florence is where you come to buy quality cars, trucks, and SUVs. Priced to fit your budget. At Pops Auto, we specialize in trucks. From four-wheel drives to diesels, our satisfied repeat buyers know Pops has one of the largest truck inventories for any independent dealer, period. Browse Pops inventory at popsautosalesllc.com and get pre-approved for a zero down payment with approved credit. With warranties and service contracts available. Pops Auto Sales, your home for trucks. Highway 49 South in Florence.
Attention homeowners and business owners. Complete Exteriors is now Elite Roofing and Gutters. Are your roof and gutters storm ready? The folks at Elite are your local experts in storm protection. Now is the time for an inspection and for proactive solutions that ensure your roof and gutters can withstand any storm. Get up to a possible $250 rebate on a new roofing system for all active military, veterans, and retirees. Online at eliteroofer.com.
If you want the best health care, where do you go? The Mayo Clinic. If you want the best care for your vehicle, where do you go? Mayo Auto Clinic in Raymond. Mayo Auto Clinic does foreign and domestic vehicles and diesel repair. Mayo Auto Clinic has ASE certified techs with over 25 years of experience. You can extend the life of your car or truck when you take it to Mayo Auto Clinic. For cost-effective repairs and maintenance, go to the best, Mayo Auto Clinic. Open weekdays at 7 a.m. Highway 18 in Raymond.
Come together.
And we are back here, WYAB Crossing the Aisle with Shaun and Lindsey. I'm sure if you want to hear about how good the new Star Wars movie is, you can jump on over to Shaun's Facebook page. I'm sure he will be talking about it after he sees it this afternoon.
It's not new. It's 20 years old. But
Oh, they're just showing the old one?
Yeah.
You've seen that 50 million
But
times.
they're re-releasing it in the theater. You're not going to understand. That's, I mean,
If it was Jurassic Park, I'd be all for it.
yeah. It's they re-release old movies, you know. Over it's playing in every theater in the metro area today.
Just for today?
No, I think it plays till Sunday.
Oh.
I think so.
How many times are you going to go see it this
I'm just going to go
weekend?
see it this afternoon. I'm taking a break. I'm going to go. I've been looking forward to it. And plus I'm like having like a midlife crisis a little bit. And because I remember so well, like waiting right when I graduated law school, going to see it like the next day because it just came out then.
This
And
is
I'm like, man, I've been
nostalgic.
practicing law for 20 years. It kind of makes you like, oh my God, like
You're
you know,
old, Shaun.
Yeah, I
You're
know. Like I was like,
old.
oh my God, like that was exactly 20 years ago. So, and I was getting ready to study for the bar that summer and all that kind of stuff. So, but now it's now I'm just like grizzled and cynical and you know and I was a lot more positive about the outlook of the world when I was 25. I was 25 then. So
It's all
you
gone
know,
downhill.
yeah, I mean now it's like now got this radio show where all we used to talk about all the crap that's out there. And before I was reading, I was always into stuff like that, but it just didn't seem so demented as it does now.
Like the porn in schools.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, just everything about, politics and the state of the country and just all, just life in general. As you get older, I think you start seeing things that you never would have, you never can see when you're not young because you just don't know anything about the world yet.
Right.
But then,
exactly.
once you hit your 40s, you're like, oh my God, this place is completely messed up.
If you want to hear more about our cynical look on life,
Yeah.
catch us back here next week, 12 to 1, Monday through Friday.